Let's get right into it. Number 1, the general who taunted a sniper. Okay, look, we all love a good confident one-liner, but there's a time and a place, and in the middle of a sniper battle is probably not the place. Meet Union General John Sedgwick. It's 1864, the Battle of Spotsylvania, and his troops are very reasonably ducking for cover from Confederate sharpshooters. Sedgwick, feeling a bit too much like a movie hero, decides this is the perfect time for a motivational speech. He scoffs at his men, stands up tall, and famously bellows, "They couldn't hit an elephant at this distance. You see where this is going, right?" A split second later, a sniper's bullet struck him directly below the eye, killing him instantly. The universe, it seems, has a dark sense of humor and really hates it when you tempt fate. It was the ultimate cosmic punchline, delivered at about 1,000 yards. Number 2, the king who whipped the ocean. Ever been so mad you wanted to punch a wall? Well, Persian King Xerxes I was that mad. At the ocean, in 480 BC, Xerxes built 2 massive pontoon bridges to march his army into Greece, but a nasty storm rolled in and, as storms do, wrecked his stuff. Xerxes didn't just sigh and call his insurance guy. No, he declared the sea itself guilty of treason. He literally sentenced the water to a public flogging. He had his soldiers march down to the beach and whip the waves 300 times, all while yelling insults at it. They even threw chains into the water to shackle it. It's the ancient world's most dramatic yelling at a cloud moment, and you have to wonder what the soldiers were thinking. Sir, it's just wet. Number 3, the emperor relieved his chicken were safe priorities. They're important. And in 410 AD, as the Goths were literally burning Rome to the ground, Emperor Honorius had his priorities. Imagine this, you're the emperor. Your entire civilization is collapsing. A messenger bursts into the room, out of breath, and yells, "Rome has perished!" A normal person might, panic, not Honorius. He just sighed with relief and said, "Oh, thank goodness, I was worried." See, the messenger was talking about the city of Rome. Honorius thought he was talking about his beloved pet chicken, which he had also named Rome. His capital was falling, his people were being slaughtered, but hey, at least his favorite poultry was safe peak management material, right there. Number 4, the roller skate debut that shattered grand entrances. We all want one, but in 1760, one inventor's debut was less grand and more disastrously clumsy. His name was François Anglais, and he had just invented the roller skate. To show it off, he decided to glide gracefully into a fancy Parisian ball while playing the violin. The crowd was stunned. This was high tech. This was a man from the future. There was just one tiny microscopic problem he'd overlooked. He had not in any way invented a way to stop. Anglais became a human pinball, gliding helplessly across the ballroom, violin still in hand, until he crashed spectacularly into a giant, extremely expensive floor-to-ceiling mirror. He shattered the mirror, the violin, and his dignity, all in one go. A brilliant idea that forgot one crucial detail: brakes. Number 5, the few rabbits that ate a continent. It all started so innocently. In 1859, a British settler in Australia named Thomas Austin just missed home. He liked hunting, and he thought, you know what this giant continent is missing? Rabbits. His official quote was that the introduction of a few rabbits could do little harm, so he released 24 of them, just 2 dozen. Here's the thing about rabbits, they breed like, rabbits. Those 24 rabbits multiplied into an estimated 600 million, becoming the single most destructive invasive species in Australian history. They devoured vegetation, caused mass soil erosion, and drove countless native animals to extinction. It's the ecological equivalent of leaving a single gremlin in a water park, all because one guy wanted to shoot something familiar. Number 6, the trial of a rotting corpse. You think your boss holds a grudge? You've never met Pope Stephen VI. This guy hated his predecessor, Pope Formosus, hated him so much that Formosus being dead wasn't enough to stop the beef. In 897 AD, 9 months after Formosus had died, Stephen had the body dug up, dressed in full papal robes, and propped up in a chair to stand trial. They called it the Cadaver Synod. And yes, they appointed a deacon to defend the rotting corpse who had to speak on its behalf. Unsurprisingly, the corpse lost the trial. It was found guilty, its fingers of blessing were chopped off, and the body was unceremoniously thrown into the Tiber River. It's a new low for workplace drama. Number 7. The ultimate F around and find out moment. Let this be a lesson in customer service. Around 1218, Genghis Khan, leader of the unstoppable Mongol Empire, decided to be nice. He sent a peaceful trade mission to his neighbor, the Khwarezmian Empire. The ruler, Shah Muhammad, had a different idea. In a spectacular lapse in judgment, he had the Mongol ambassadors executed and their beards burned. Genghis Khan's response was not a strongly worded letter of complaint. His response was the total, utter, and complete annihilation of the Shah's entire empire. He rode in with his armies and systematically erased its cities and people from the map. It's the most brutal and large-scale example of F around and find out in all of human history. Diplomatic protocol. 0. Mongol vengeance. 100 million. Number 8. The composer, crushed by his own bookcase. We all hope to go out in a blaze of glory. Or, peacefully in our sleep. What you don't want is to be taken out by a piece of IKEA furniture. Charles Valentin Alcan was a 19th century musical genius, a rock star pianist who was a rival to legends like Chopin. He could make a piano sing, but this man, who had mastered insanely complex musical compositions, was apparently defeated by basic physics. The story goes that Alcan was at home, reaching for a book from the very top of his very heavy bookcase. He pulled, the bookcase wobbled, and, well, the entire thing toppled over and crushed him. A tragic, baffling end that's less Maestro's final bow and more warning label on a shelving unit. Number 9. The emperor who told his murderous bodyguards. He was cutting their pay reading the room. It's a vital life skill, and it's one emperor Pertinax of Rome spectacularly failed at. Pertinax took the throne in 193 AD, right after the previous emperor was murdered, by his own bodyguards, the Praetorian Guard. These guys were famously violent, famously disloyal, and famously armed with very big swords. So what was Pertinax's first move as the new boss? He announced he was instilling discipline, and by discipline he meant he was cutting the Praetorian Guard's pay. He was, of course, murdered by them just 87 days later. That's like winning the lottery and immediately telling your new, very large, very armed security team you're switching them to an unpaid internship. Just a spectacular misread of the room. Number 10. The Roman Empire sold to the highest bidder. So what do you do after you've murdered your second emperor in 3 months? If you're the Praetorian Guard, you have a brilliant idea. You auction off the entire Roman Empire. I'm not joking. They stood on the ramparts and announced that the throne of Rome would go to the highest bidder. A wealthy and frankly idiotic senator named Didius Julianus won. He literally bought the empire. The problem? He bought the title, but he didn't buy any power, loyalty, or respect. The Roman legions in the provinces were disgusted, and a real general, Septimius Severus, just marched his army to Rome and took over. Julianus's reign lasted 66 days before Severus had him executed. He bought the world's most expensive status symbol and found out it came with a terrible return policy. Number 11. The Sultan who drowned his entire staff. We've all had to deal with a bad boss, but Ottoman Sultan Ibrahim I, aka Ibrahim the Mad, takes the cake. In the 1640s, Ibrahim got paranoid. He suspected that one of his 280 concubines, his entire harem, was being unfaithful. An investigation? Too much work? A strongly worded memo? Not his style. Instead, he ordered a total workforce liquidation. He had all 280 women tied in weighted sacks and thrown into the Bosphorus Strait to drown. It was a brutally decisive solution to a management problem that was most likely entirely in his head. Talk about a toxic work environment. Number 12. The world's worst getaway plan. When you're the king of France and there's a, revolution happening and you decide to flee the country, you should probably be discreet. King Louis XVI and Marie Antoinette did not get that memo. In 1791, they tried to escape Paris. Instead of, say, disguising themselves as peasants and taking a fast, quiet carriage, they commissioned a brand new, massive, custom-built luxury carriage that was painted bright green. It was basically a royal RV. They traveled slowly, brought a huge entourage, and even kept stopping to chat with people who recognized them. They were caught almost immediately, and this very obvious, very clumsy escape sealed their fate with the guillotine. It's like trying to sneak out of your parents' house by hiring a marching band and a spotlight. Number 13. The Shakespeare fan who wrecked an ecosystem. Fanboys can be dangerous. Case in point, Eugene Schieffelin. In the late 19th century, Eugene was the ultimate Shakespeare fanboy. He had one very weird life goal: to introduce every single bird mentioned in Shakespeare's plays to North America. Most of the birds he released just died. But then, in 1890, he released 60 starlings in New York's Central Park. These birds, mentioned just once in Henry IV, loved America. They loved it so much they multiplied and multiplied. Today, there are over 200 million starlings in North America. They are an aggressive, invasive plague that outcompetes native birds, destroys crops, and causes billions in damage, all because one guy really liked Shakespeare. Number 14, the Napoleon who declared war on everyone. There's confidence, and then there's whatever Paraguayan dictator Francisco Solano Lopez had. In the 1860s, Lopez saw himself as the Napoleon of South America. He had the hat, he had the ambition, he just didn't have the genius. To prove how tough he was, he decided to pick a fight. But why fight one neighbor when you can fight all of them? Lopez declared war on the Triple Alliance, Brazil, Argentina, and Uruguay, all at the same time. The resulting war was, unsurprisingly, a catastrophe. It was so devastating that by the time it ended, it had killed up to 70% of Paraguay's adult male population. He wasn't a tactical genius, he was the architect of his entire nation's ruin. Number 15. The fun police who got his corpse executed. Nobody likes the fun police, and the biggest, most powerful fun police officer in history was Oliver Cromwell. After the English Civil War, Cromwell took over and basically tried to turn England into a grey, joyless void. He banned Christmas, he banned theatres, he banned sports, he even banned wearing makeup. It was a national timeout that lasted for years. The people hated it. They hated it so much that after Cromwell died of natural causes, they waited a few years, got the monarchy back, and then they dug up his corpse. They put his dead body on trial for treason, found it guilty, beheaded it, and stuck his head on a spike for 25 years. That is how much they missed Christmas. Number 16. The alcoholic Sultan who banned coffee. Here's another one from the Bad Boss file, Sultan Murad IV. In the 17th century Ottoman Empire, Murad IV decided that coffee houses were hubs of rebellion and immoral thoughts. So, he banned coffee. Not just the shops, the drink itself. He was so intense about it, he would patrol the streets of Istanbul in disguise, and if he caught anyone drinking coffee, he would have them executed on the spot, a bit harsh for a latte. The best part, Murad's own personal beverage of choice was alcohol. Copious amounts of it. He was a notorious drunk who eventually died young from cirrhosis of the liver, so no dangerous bean juice for the people, but he was free to poison himself to death. Classic. Number 17. The quest for immortality using diseased blood. In the 1920s, Russian physician Alexander Bogdanov had a brilliant idea. Blood transfusions were the key to eternal youth. He was a smart guy, a physician, a philosopher, a revolutionary, but this one idea was bad. He started experimenting on himself, and at first he claimed he felt great. His vision improved. He stopped balding. He was hooked. For his 12th self-experiment, he decided to do a mutual transfusion with a student. Unfortunately, Bogdanov failed to do a basic background check. The student was suffering from both malaria and tuberculosis. Bogdanov injected himself with a cocktail of deadly diseases and, shockingly, died shortly after. He proved that some cures are definitely worse than the disease. Number 18. The $7.2 million icebox that was actually a gold mine. In 1867, Russia had a problem. They owned Alaska, which they saw as a giant, useless, frozen wasteland that was impossible to defend, so they decided to sell it. The US Secretary of State, William Seward, agreed to buy it for $7.2 million. That's about 2 cents an acre. Back in America, everyone laughed at him. They called it Seward's Folly and Seward's Icebox. They made cartoons mocking him for buying a pile of snow. It was seen as the stupidest purchase ever. Then they found gold, and then they found oil, and then they found timber and fish and countless other resources. Russia had sold one of the most resource-rich territories on Earth for pocket change. The biggest oops in real estate history. Number 19. The humble flex of an Olympic hero. Okay, let's take a quick break from the catastrophic failures to celebrate the opposite of an idiot, a moment of pure, wholesome class. It's 1896, the very first modern Olympic Games. The big event is the marathon, and the winner is Spiridon Louis, a humble Greek water carrier. He becomes a national hero overnight. The king of Greece is so overjoyed he tells Spiridon he can have any gift he wants. Anything. He could have asked for a mansion, a title, a lifetime of wealth. The guy just won the Olympics. He had a blank check. You know what he asked for? A new donkey and cart to help him with his water-carrying business. That's it. While emperors are buying thrones and sultans are drowning people, this legend just wanted to upgrade his work vehicle. The ultimate, most respectable, humble flex. Number 20. The chemist who accidentally broke the planet. And now we're at number 20. The final boss of historical idiots, a man who, through sheer misguided genius, arguably caused more damage to the planet than any other single human being. His name is Thomas Midgley Jr. He was a chemist, and his job was to solve problems. First problem, knocking in car engines. His solution? Leaded gasoline. He created a product that spent decades poisoning the entire globe with neurotoxins, stunting the brain development of generations. Second problem, refrigerators used toxic gases. His solution? Freon, the first CFC. This, as we now know, blasted a continent-sized hole in the ozone layer, threatening all life on Earth. This guy collected environmental disasters like they were Pokemon. And in a final, dark, ironic twist, he contracted polio, built an elaborate pulley system to get in and out of bed, and was strangled to death by his own invention. The universe, again, always gets the last laugh. And there you have it. 20 people who make your push-pull door mistake look positively brilliant. From taunting snipers to auctioning off empires, history is just one long, hilarious, and often terrifying list of bad ideas. So, the next time you mess up, just remember, at least you didn't accidentally create 600 million rabbits. That's it for us. If all these historical fails made your own brain feel a little bit smarter, go ahead and make the smart decision. Hit that like button and subscribe for more weird history.